I asked artificial intelligence what it thought about universal basic income. Oh, okay. So I thought I'd have a chat. So I went on to ChatGPT. Yeah. And I asked it 2 questions. The first question was, write 20 bullet points debating UBI. Then I asked it, write 20 bullet points debating the affordability of UBI, universal basic income. I know I've talked about this in a previous video, but I think it's quite interesting because I feel that universal basic income is not necessarily a natural progression on a societal level. I think it's going to become a necessity because artificial intelligence is going to steal quite a large proportion of people's jobs, and it's advancing scarily fast. Some scientists are saying that it potentially could wipe out the human race. I don't know if I go that far. I don't think we're quite, terminate. No, yet. No, I don't. So, I asked it some questions, because there's a few things that, come into my mind. Things obviously about societal levels, but also whether or not we can afford it, and about industry as a whole, really. Is this a potential reset? I think so. I also feel with population implosion, I know they say that the UK's population is massively increasing, but it's increasing because of, migration, not because of necessarily that we're making enough babies. No, because we're not. No. You need like 2.1 children, isn't it, per family to be able to maintain the status quo. That's why we need migration as well, you see. So I asked it a question. So my first question I asked it was, write 20 bullet points debating universal basic income. And ChatGPT's answer was, universal basic income ensures a basic level of financial security for all individuals, regardless of their employment status or income level. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, UBI, universal basic income, can help alleviate poverty and reduce income inequality by providing a reliable source of income to everybody, and particularly those in low-paying or unstable jobs. And we know they're unstable at the moment, don't we? With everything that's been going on. Brexit, for instance, that's pretty much it, made everything unstable. Now, I've got a feeling about this, you see. We've just done a major reset. A negative one, that is, yeah. It's called Brexit, you know. And although the numpties put that grass in the wrong box. Sorry, I had to do that. But yes. So why not do another one? A universal basic income. We're already flat on our faces. We can't trade that easily. No. Well, ChatGPT also says it empowers individuals to make choices about their lives. Yes, because they're not worrying about money quite so much. Maybe they understand, well, if we're living quite basically, well then we may but afford to live. Yeah. So it empowers individuals to make choices about their lives and pursue opportunities that may not be financially viable under the current systems. Exactly. Might decide to do something artistic, creative. Might want to improve your education. The UBI has potentials to streamline and simplify the welfare system, reducing bureaucracy and administrative costs associated with means testing and eligibility requirements. Well, that's where the universal bit comes in, you see. It's for everybody, no matter where you are on the economic ladder, Jacob Rees-Moggs and all that, or whether you're flat on your face. It doesn't make any difference. You all get the money. So those with money might reinvest it. That potentially could help the economy anyway, to be honest. That money would go straight back in. Also, you have to look on the negative side of that. Some people might offshore it. Like the Jacob Rees-Moggs of this world, or, But there again, on the plus side, you might get Richie Sunak build another swimming pool. That'll employ a few people, wouldn't it? Yeah, maybe. UBI can support entrepreneurship. This is the thing I think, this real bonus regarding universal basic income. I agree with that 100% because I think we're going to, if we do take that route in the future, it's a long way off if it ever does happen. I feel that we're going to see small to medium enterprises popping out of the woodwork all over the place. We really will. Now, I remember when I started my business in the United Kingdom, if it wasn't for family credit when it first came in, with having a large family, there's no way we'd been able to start that business. I'd still be just doing a mundane job somewhere. You know, it helped us because we had that little, no, it wasn't UBI, but we had a little bit of that support. That's it, a bit of support allowed us to promote ourselves as a family and become a little bit more, how to put it, a little bit more affluent. Not very affluent, but a little bit more affluent. Now, it can alleviate the pressure on workers in industries that are being automated and have a cushion to fall back on while transitioning to new careers. The way I see it is we'll no longer be slaves, or be less of a slave to the employer. Because you'll be able to say, sod you, I'm off. Because you can. They're talking around, at the moment, the trials that are going on at the moment, or could be starting in the United Kingdom, there's quite a small group of people, but it's going to be £1,600 a month that they get, which is more than UK pension. Considerably more. If it's UK pension, around 1,000 or something. It's not a lot, is it, anyway? Or 900 and something, I think it is, UK pensions. So it's pretty poor. And that brings you on to pensions. It would also, you'd get rid of the need for pensions, and pensions would be better off. People on state pension, because they'll be getting a universal basic income. Now, I know you say, how can we afford that? But don't forget, in France and many other European countries, the pensions are much higher than the UK anyway. I mean, considerably higher. Double, in fact. In some cases more, depending on how much, obviously, you contributed. Now, it provides social cohesion and reduces social tensions by ensuring everyone has a basic level of economic security, most definitely, reducing the feeling of exclusion and marginalisation. Well, there's a stigma, isn't there? There's a stigma associated people who are on benefits, job seekers and stuff like that. It's called the dole and all that, are job seekers. And, that associates, you're a sponger, That potentially could be gone, couldn't it? Or at least it could be lessened somewhat. Now, I feel that some people will see this as an opportunity not to do anything. Just sit on the butts. And just manage, basically. But those sort of people don't want to work. There's many people actually in the workplace already who would jump at that chance not to be in the workplace because, not be funny, many workplaces aren't really paying enough money anyway to just barely managing people are. Where the cost of living crisis is at the moment. And wage suppression. No wonder everyone's striking. That's the other thing, you see. Would it reduce strikes? I think it potentially could. Or we'd be striking for, instead of emphasis on wages, the emphasis will be on conditions. In society, we could be, wealth and resources in society by redistributing income from the wealthy to those in need. Now, how do we fund this thing? I'll get into that in the next question. Now, addressing historic inequalities and providing a fairer starting point for individuals from disadvantaged backgrounds. Most definitely. I think we would see levelling up. Not Michael Gove type levelling up, I mean actual levelling up. I think many people will feel, well, why am I moving to London, for instance, to work, because that's where the work is, when I could work, maybe take a less, not maybe being paid quite so much, but I could work in the Red Wall, for instance. And we've got a lot of distant work at the moment in the sense of working from home anyway at the moment. I mean, in many industries, especially obviously services industries like insurances and stuff like that, and call centres and stuff like that. People doing it from home now, Now, UBI has the potential to address the changing nature of work where traditional employment models may no longer provide stable income or security. Well, they certainly are not. It can stimulate local economies by injecting a reliable income stream into communities. That's the thing, you see. Where you have all these small to medium enterprises popping up all over the place, they'll be paying taxes locally. They'll be spending money locally. We'll have less corporations just gobbling up all the small to medium enterprises into one great big conglomerate and offshoring all the money. That's what, That's what I think. It may reduce the power imbalance between employers and employees. Like I said, you say, sod you, I'm off. UBI can foster creativity and cultural production by allowing individuals to pursue artistic endeavours and projects without the financial constraints. Don't get me wrong, even if it's $1,600 a month, that's not a huge amount of money. Not for an individual to be able to survive. I think we still have to work. Some people, it depends on what your outgoings are and your cost of living is. If you're living, for instance, in London, the cost of living there is astronomical. Rents and what have you, are very high. But it might actually alleviate the pressure in London on the property market, which could also reduce the prices in London. Because people would potentially, more people would move away from London because a lot of people don't necessarily want to be in London. They might want to be near their families, say in the Red Wall areas, up north somewhere. The UBI encourages a shift in societal values, placing more emphasis on well-being, personal fulfilment and community engagement rather than solely on financial success. I actually believe it could potentially reduce, well, not potentially, it will reduce gross domestic product, but possibly only in the short term. Hence, it would, I think, increase borrowing. It would, in the short term. Maybe it'll decrease borrowing in the long term. I don't know. Maybe it's the answer to it. But I think really, how I see the universal basic income is more about mitigation, not necessarily just the next logical step. It's the next logical step regarding AI stealing everybody's jobs. Now, there's so many positives. Now, my first search, like I said, it's just a very normally if I was going to use ChatGPT, I'll have a more in-depth, prompt. Chat. So in this case, all it said was 20 bullet points debating UBI. So there's I didn't say anything about negativity about it or positivity, negative positivity, the pros and the cons. No, all I said was write 20 bullet points on debating UBI, and everything that came up was positive. That tells me that there's an awful lot of stuff online where ChatGPT's got its data sets debating whether or not it is a good thing and that it's more positive than negative. So I thought I'd change the actual question to ChatGPT. Artificial intelligence. Let's get this straight. Machine learning. They're not sentient. No, machine learning. I'm not saying they couldn't be sentient because after all, what are we? We are organic machines, really. So ChatGPT. Okay. I asked it the question. Right, 20 bullet points debating the affordability of universal basic income. And it told me, as it did, how long is this video going? I'm getting a bit long now. Universal basic income is often touted as a solution to address income inequality and poverty. However, one of the key concerns about UBI is its affordability. Of course, it's a major transition. Of course we're going to be worrying about where the money's going to be coming from. Will our gross domestic product be hit in such a way, or are the money coming into the country that's used to pay for services, and would it be squeezed because of universal basic income, because less people may be going to work? But I think we'll see more innovation, personally. Now, funding UBI would likely require higher taxes or redirecting funds from other areas, such as education, healthcare, or infrastructure. Well, I think the demand on infrastructure would be much less. The road systems, for instance, we have more people working from home. People just change the way they work. We've seen it, obviously, with the pandemic, haven't we? Critics argue that the cost of UBI, universal basic income, could be astronomical. Well, there will be savings. Obviously, there's going to be a deficit, maybe. Maybe they won't. No, I don't think anyone really actually knows. Because all the trials that are being done at the moment is all on a societal level, how it improves people's lives. The UBI may disincentivize work. It will with some people. Yeah, it may be with some people, but I think, my feeling is, if it's me, for instance, I think, crikey, I ain't got to worry about that now. I know, do you know what I'd really love to do? I'd really love to maybe do some exhibitions, some galleries and places. Yeah, that's what I'd love to do. Yeah, I'm going to push my photography. I'm going to do more arts. I'm going to express my point of view a bit more, maybe. So I don't necessarily buy that. I think it'll incentivise more people than it'll disincentivise. As individuals may choose not to seek employment or actively participate in the workplace if they can rely on a guaranteed income. It's a baseline income, isn't it? It's not really, it's not an aspiring income. And let's be honest, us creatures, us organic AI, we are, we're quite egotistical. I think people on the whole are egotistical. They want to feel good about themselves. There's a little bit of narcissism in everybody. They want, and to do that, you're going to need more than 1,600 a month to be able to improve your lives and say, hey, look at me. You're not going to do that while you're stuck in your house and playing computer games. No. Now, some argue that UBI could lead to inflation. I think that's a difficult one. I don't know if I've got an answer to that. It says here, as injecting a significant amount of money into the economy without corresponding increase in productivity. I think productivity will change. Now, if you talk about a complete reset, we might reduce our GDP, but it's whether or not we need so much money in the first place. I think people's needs will change. If more people are working from home as a result of universal basic income, because they're not necessarily in the workplace, but also they might not be in the workplace because they've lost their jobs because of artificial intelligence anyway. That's why we will have to impose more corporation taxes on the actual companies, the manufacturing, what have you, and other industries that utilise artificial basic intelligence. Maybe we've got to make it less attractive for industry to utilise universal basic income. No, to utilise artificial intelligence. Yeah, we've got to pull people away from it, you see. You know, the industry's away from it, so we employ real people. Yeah. So, it also says here, the affordability of UBI is further challenged by the fact that it would need to be adjusted for regional cost of living variations. But that I don't think that's an answer. We can't be causing more administrative costs. The whole thing has got to be universal. It's got to be the same payment right across the country, no matter where you live. It might force you to move away from the expensive areas such as London. But I think it's got to be simple. If as soon as we start complicating it, we're kind of losing the benefits of moving away from this welfare, sort of a welfare means testing and what have you. So I'm doing this all off the cuff, by the way, just so you know, apart from obviously what ChatGPT said. Funding UBI through taxation could potentially burden the middle classes the most. I don't think so. I don't think that's where you should be looking at taxing. No, I think you should be looking at the horse's mouth. Where the money is where the biggest amount of money is, and that's obviously going to be the corporations who are making the most money. It's not the employees. No. Because obviously those who make the products, supply the services and stuff like that, they're the ones who are setting the price. So the affordability of UBI becomes even more challenging in countries with larger populations. Some countries, I can't see how it could work. You imagine places, I don't know, like India, has got what's their population in India? Crazy amount, isn't it? It's over 1 billion, isn't it? It's 1.3 billion or something in India, and obviously China and places like that. And they've got huge levels of inequalities. Can the country sustain getting every single person in that country that amount of money, when most of them, a large proportion of them, are economically inactive? You think China, for instance, they've got a huge ageing population because of their one-child policy has pretty much hampered them there. It's uncertain whether UBI would be able to generate enough economic growth and increased tax revenue to offset its costs in the long run. I don't believe that. I think we'll see a reset. I think the way that the country will evolve economically will change. I think we'll become more insular with the way that money is, whether we make money and how we distribute money. I think we'll see with universal basic income, with inequalities, I think pretty much, I won't wipe it out, but we'll see it there'll be more middle ground. There'll be less people flat on their faces. less people just managing, unless they choose to, and then that's their choice. But more people, I think more people strive to better their lives and improve their education and stuff like that. And things, will there be enough college places? But we'll have to evolve to suit. The transition to UBI is not going to be just like that, is it? It's not going to be overnight. It's going to be over a period of time. Now, another thing that's just sprung into my mind is about at what point do we start handing out universal basic income? Now, for me, I don't think people should be just turn 18 and you get your key. Or was that 21? You get universal basic income. I think youngsters who would not traditionally enter the workplace, I think they need some work experience before they enter, or before they receive any universal basic income. The idea being is that I'd want to push away that kind of mindset of saying, hang on, let's rely purely on the welfare state, as in universal basic income in this case. Yeah, we need to encourage people and also educate them and promote their mindset to better their lives. See? And also some people they like to work. They want to work. Most people do. In fact, I do. I enjoy what I do, you know. So the implementation and administrative costs of UBI should also be considered. Well, those costs be drastically reduced in relationship to means tested benefits, etc. And obviously then pensions and that as well. There's a concern that UBI may result in a welfare trap, where individuals become dependent on the basic income. We've already covered that. UBI would disproportionately benefit those who are already financially stable. Depends what they do with the money. We need to encourage those people maybe to spend the money. Maybe universal basic income is handed out in a different form, in a form of credits. So a bit like Star Trek. So you have to, it's a bit like credits. So you have to use the money, spend the money. It has to be spent to stimulate the economy. Critics argue that the affordability of UBI, particularly challenging in times of economic downturn or recession when government revenues are lower, making it even more difficult to sustain the programme. Well, I don't think we'll be seeing a recession if we have universal basic income. No. We'll have affordability issues if our gross domestic product is hit. But the way that recessions are, two consecutive quarters of negative growth, I don't see that. I think we'd see more growth, because growth comes from starting at the beginning and building your way up, such as small to medium enterprises. And I feel that they will, we'll see millions, we'll see a lot of them anyway, new fresh businesses, whether it be, baristas, or whether it be some electricians, I think we'll see less big businesses and more small businesses. So long-term economic consequences include the impact of job creation, wealth distribution and social welfare systems, making it difficult to assess its affordability accurately. Yes, no matter what anybody tells you, I don't see how we can actually honestly say to ourselves that we know what the outcome of universal basic income on an economic basis would actually be. I don't get it. I don't see how we can. Socially, I think it's a no-brainer. It's obvious. It's absolutely obvious. People's lives would most definitely improve, providing we find a way of funding it. And at the moment, I don't think we actually really know if we can. And that makes it a massive leap, and also makes politicians extremely nervous. Somebody's going to have to make that decision. And also have to be in the form of a referendum. And if it's a people's vote, well then quite frankly, I think the people would most definitely vote for universal basic income. And like I said earlier, if Brexit was supposed to be that major reset, oh my giddy up, this would certainly be a major reset. Anyway, I thought I'd ask ChatGPT its thoughts on, universal basic income, and that's what it told me. And I gave you my thoughts as well. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. So please boot the old like button, because it does help the channel. And maybe well, subscribe and the little bell icon, because then you get one basic video in your pocket every time I upload another video. And yes, this is my second universal basic income video of today. But I think it's a very interesting topic, and there's a lot of talk about it because there's a lot of trials. There's been trials in Canada, there's been trials in Finland, and now we're going to be seeing some trials in the United Kingdom. And it's a charity-based trial. So we'll see what the outcome of that is. And yeah, the criticisms might be a little bit different, but I don't think it's actually going to tell us. These trials don't tell us what we need to know. Whether or not we can afford it, they just tell us whether or not it's good for society. Yeah, you tell me, please leave it in the comments down below. So anyway, have a lovely day. But it's a beautiful day today. It's all sunny, you know. Oh, okay. Ta-ta. I can't reach the button. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to get up. Oh, watch here, I'm stuck. Oh, here we go. Ta-ta.